Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome everyone to today's Explainer. I am so glad you're here because today we are going to look at some truly amazing wisdom found right inside the biblical text. Specifically, we're zooming in on a chapter called Proverbs 30. Now, you probably know the book of Proverbs is literally packed with brilliant advice on how to live a good, wise life. And the really cool part? This advice is just as awesome and helpful for you today as it was when it was first written down a very, very long time ago.
But hey, before we get to the advice, have you ever felt like you just don't understand things? Like maybe you're doing your homework, or you're trying to figure out how a super complex toy works, or you just look up at the giant starry sky and think, wow, my brain just kind of can't understand all of this. Well, if you've ever felt that way, you are definitely not alone. Even the absolute smartest people in the world feel like that sometimes.
And that actually brings us to our very first lesson today from the biblical text. Lesson 1, admitting we need help. We're going to meet a man named Agur, the son of Jakeh, and you'll see that even incredibly wise people from the biblical text are quick to admit when they need God's help.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how Agur describes himself here. He says, "Surely I am only a brute, not a man. I do not have human understanding." You'd probably think that someone whose words made it into the biblical text must walk around saying, "I know everything. I am the smartest person ever." But actually, it's the exact opposite. He goes on to say he hasn't learned wisdom or attained the knowledge of the Holy One. A brute is just another word for a wild animal. So Agur is being incredibly humble here. He's saying that compared to the mind of God, he feels like a simple animal that doesn't know very much at all. He fully recognized that he just didn't have all the answers.
Listen to the awesome power of God. Because Agur knows he doesn't know everything, he looks up to the one who does. He looks up to him, the Holy One, and just absolutely marvels at his incredible power over all of creation.
Agur starts asking these huge, amazing questions to prove his point. First, he asks, who has gone up to heaven and come down? Think about it. Can you or I just travel up into the heavens whenever we feel like it and then just pop right back down? No way. Only he can do awesome things like that. Then, he asks, whose hands have gathered up the wind? I want you to imagine going outside on a really breezy day and trying to grab the wind in your own two hands and hold it tight. You can't do it, right? It slips right through your fingers. But the biblical text tells us that he is so powerful, he can gather the wind right into his hands.
Next, who has wrapped up the waters in a cloak? A cloak is like a big, heavy winter jacket. Try to picture the massive oceans, the crashing waves, and the deep seas. He is so big and so powerful that he controls all of those massive waters like he's just rolling up a simple jacket. It is almost hard to even imagine that kind of power.
Finally, Agur concludes this amazing list of questions by asking, who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is the name of his son? The answer, of course, is that he alone created everything. From the highest heaven to the very ends of the earth, he's the one who built it all and keeps it all going.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Lesson 3, God's flawless word.
We just saw how powerful he is in nature with the wind and the mighty oceans. But his power isn't just in the things he created, it's also right there in what he says. Agur tells us every word of God is flawless. That is a really important word for us to understand. Flawless means absolutely perfect. It means there are zero mistakes, zero errors, and absolutely nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Every single thing he says in the biblical text is completely true and perfect.
And because his word is completely perfect, we can trust him completely. The text says, he is a shield to those who take refuge in him. Now, a shield is a strong piece of armor that a knight or a soldier uses for protection. Just like a real, heavy metal shield blocks flying arrows or swords in a battle, he steps in and protects us when we take refuge, which means when we run to him for safety and trust in him.
But there's a gentle but very clear warning that comes with this perfect word. The biblical text says, do not add to his words, or he will prove you a liar. Since his words are already flawless and perfect, we shouldn't ever try to change them, make up new rules and pretend they're from him, or add our own ideas to his words. If we do, he will rebuke us, which means he will firmly correct us because we wouldn't be telling the truth.
Okay, moving right along to Lesson 4, asking for just enough. Agur knew he was speaking to the all-powerful God, so he had a very specific prayer before he died.
He had two very specific things he asked of the Lord. In fact, I want everyone to hold up 2 fingers right now. Yep, just 2. That's exactly how many things Agur asked for. He didn't ask for 1 million toys or to be the most famous person on earth, just 2 very important things. Let's see what they were. Here is what he asked. Number 1, keep falsehood and lies far from me. He wanted to be an honest person who always told the truth. And number 2, give me neither poverty nor riches, but give me only my daily bread. Asking for his daily bread simply means he was asking him for exactly what he needed for that one day, no more and no less. Just enough food and supplies to get through today.
And this brilliantly illustrates why having a perfect balance is so smart. Agur explains exactly why he only wants his daily bread. He says if he has too much riches, he might get proud and disown God, saying, "Who is the Lord? I don't need him. I have all this stuff." But on the flip side, if he has too little and is in poverty, he might get so desperate that he's tempted to steal, which would completely dishonor the name of his God. So he prays for that perfect middle spot, just exactly what he needs.
Finally, we reach our last lesson in today's explainer. Lesson 5, how we treat others.
You see, the biblical text doesn't just tell us how to think about God. It gives us highly practical lessons about how we treat the people around us every single day. First, it says, "Do not slander a servant to their master, or they will curse you and you will pay for it." Slander is a big word that basically means saying mean, hurtful, or untrue things about someone behind their back to get them in trouble. The text reminds us that if you spread lies and try to ruin someone's life, it's gonna come back around. They will be angry, they will curse you, and you will face the consequences of your bad words.
So, the crucial point is how we use our words towards others, especially in our very own homes. The text warns that there are people who curse their fathers and do not bless their mothers. This is given as a prime example of what not to do. This is a very strong instruction from the biblical text to do the exact opposite. We must always show honor, respect, and blessing to our parents. We shouldn't use our words to disrespect the family He gave us.
Wow, we have covered so much incredible wisdom today. We learned to be humble, to stand amazed at His awesome power over the wind and the oceans, to trust His flawless word, and to use our words kindly with our parents and others. But the thing that really stands out is Agur's simple prayer for exactly what he needed. So I want to leave you with this final thought-provoking question. How will you rely on Him for your daily bread today? How can you trust Him to provide exactly what you need right now without worrying about having too much or too little? Think about that today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep seeking out that amazing wisdom.